Imagine if your child stopped being afraid of making mistakes. Not because they suddenly became perfect, but because they knew every mistake had something valuable to teach them. Because here's the truth. Some of the biggest lessons in life don't come from getting everything right. They come from getting something wrong and having the wisdom to learn from it. Today, I'll share 3 powerful ways to help your child turn mistakes into some of their greatest teachers. And the final lesson is the one that determines whether a mistake becomes a burden or a breakthrough. 1. Treat mistakes as conversations, not courtrooms. When children make a mistake, many of them expect one thing: a lecture. Questions like, "Why would you do that? What were you thinking?" immediately put them on the defensive. Instead, make mistakes an opportunity for conversation. Imagine your child forgets to bring an important assignment to school. Rather than starting with blame, ask, "What do you think happened?" Then follow it with, "What could help you remember next time?" Notice the difference. You're not ignoring the mistake. You're helping your child understand it. Children learn far more when they're invited to reflect than when they're simply made to feel guilty. Because guilt often ends a conversation. Reflection begins it. But understanding what happened is only the first step. The next lesson is where real growth begins. 2. Help them find the lesson before the solution. When something goes wrong, it's natural to want to fix it quickly. But if we solve the problem before discovering the lesson, we may miss the most valuable part of the experience. Let's say your child spends all their pocket money in one day. Instead of immediately replacing it, ask, "What did this teach you about planning ahead?" Or perhaps they forgot to study for an exam. Rather than focusing only on the disappointing grade, ask, "What would you change if you had another chance?" Those questions train your child's mind to look for wisdom instead of excuses. And over time, they'll stop asking, "How do I avoid mistakes?" and start asking, "What can I learn from this?" That's when learning becomes a lifelong habit. Now here's the final lesson. It's one that quietly shapes whether children become defensive or continually improve. 3. Teach them that owning a mistake is a sign of strength. Many children think admitting a mistake makes them look weak. In reality, it shows maturity. Teach your child that saying, "I was wrong," or "I could have handled that better," isn't something to be embarrassed about. It's something to be proud of. Imagine your child hurts a friend's feelings. Instead of making excuses, encourage them to say, "I'm sorry. I understand why that hurt you." That's accountability. And accountability builds trust. Children who learn to own their mistakes spend less time protecting their pride and more time improving their character. That's a habit that will serve them in friendships, at work, in marriage, and throughout life. Your child will make mistakes. Every child does. The goal isn't to raise someone who never gets things wrong. The goal is to raise someone who asks, "What can this teach me?" Because every mistake carries a choice. It can become something to hide or something to learn from. And children who choose learning will continue growing long after everyone else stops. So don't fear your child's mistakes. Help them discover the wisdom every mistake has to offer. That may become one of the greatest lessons they ever learn. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's one mistake that ended up teaching you one of life's biggest lessons? Let's keep growing together. Click the video on your screen to learn how to raise a child who builds healthy relationships that last a lifetime. Because the children who learn from their mistakes become the kind of people who apologize sincerely, forgive wisely, communicate honestly, and build stronger relationships throughout life. I'll see you there.